Indiana Jones may not seem like a series a normal person would power scale, but I'm not normal. Not to mention, Indiana Jones was created by George Lucas. Star Wars was also created by George Lucas. My most viewed video at the time of making this video is my Star Wars Strength and Power tier list. Thus, it is only logical to make an Indiana Jones Strength and Power tier list. And with the Dial of Destiny just releasing, this is the perfect time to make it. Now let's go on an adventure, shall we? The weakest tier on this list is the civilian tier, representing characters on the level of your typical fodder. Willie's your average woman and can throw a decent punch. Henry was able to defeat a single Nazi after a tough fight using a pen, but was about to be defeated by another one before Marcus bopped him on the head. These two represent your average man. Teddy can think on his feet, and ended up drowning the giant Hauke. The fighter tier is for characters who could take out small amounts of fodder. The Prince Zelim had voodoo powers and a knife. He gave Short Round a decent fight. Marion uses her smarts to her advantage, taking out her enemies with surprise attacks. Sala also used this tactic to beat two Nazis at once. Shorty, like all Asians, is skilled in martial arts, and this allowed him to defeat multiple adult men. The Nazi Arnold easily overpowered Marion even when she had a knife. Jurgen is another Nazi, but he's smarter and has the durability to survive taking a metal pole to the face while moving on a speeding train. He killed Puss in Boots, Ronaldo, with a pistol. The two Nazis represent men with a firearm and the skill and will to use it. The soldier tier is for skilled fighters who have the ability to somewhat challenge Indiana Jones. Helena's really skilled at running and can throw a punch. She wasn't afraid to jump onto a moving car and attempt to choke Jurgen out. She later shot Jurgen, spelling his demise. Kleber was one of Jurgen's hired muscle. He killed multiple people throughout the movie, even shooting Indy after Jurgen handed his gun to him, which would imply he's more skilled than Jurgen in a shootout. The Nazi Ernst was able to give Jones a decent fight on top of a tank, taking advantage of the moments Jones was distracted by something else. The giant Sherpa was strong enough to throw Indy around, but his lack of skill allowed Jones to get the better of him. Mud is skilled with a blade and can swing on vines like he's Tarzan. He also apparently has the power to call monkeys to his aid. Irina Spalko had an intense sword fight with Mutt and ended up getting the edge over him, so she lands herself at the top of this tier. The Brute tier is for characters strong enough to match or even get the better of Indiana. Hauke is the biggest and possibly physically strongest person in the series, but his only feats are beating up fodder and bullying an elderly Indiana Jones. Antonine gave Indy an intense fight on 2 occasions, but ended up coming up short both times. The Indiana he fought was older, which is why he's near the bottom of this tier. The Nazi Weber in the flashback of the Dial of Destiny was able to get the better of Jones before Basil shot him, though Jones was distracted by having to save Basil from falling off the train. The German mechanic loves to fight and was beating Jones for most of their fight, forcing Indy to fight dirty. Literally.
I don't like sand.
The chief guard of the Thuggy cult was also beating Jones for most of their fight, but he seemed even stronger than the mechanic. If you didn't know, these two characters as well as the giant Sherpa were all played by the same actor. Mola Ram was the leader of the Thuggy cult. He has the power to rip a person's heart out while they're still living. Word has it that the horns on his crown were made from a buffalo he killed with his bare hands. He gave Indiana trouble while they were both hanging off of a broken rope bridge, but his own greed did him in. And we saw he still falls below alligators on the tier list. Alligators don't live in India, by the way. Those should have been crocodiles. At the top of the tier list in the highly educated doctor tier is the legend himself, Indiana Jones. He's taken out scores of people throughout the movies, using a mix of hand-to-hand combat, his whip, guns, and whatever else he can find in his environment. He may not be the physically strongest, but he's the most intelligent and innovative fighter. He was able to fight off Mola Ram's heart-stealing attack, and got the edge over the chief guard of the Thuggy cult before Zelim started to use his voodoo doll on him. Due to all of these reasons, I think Indiana Jones has proven himself to be at the peak of his own verse. At least while he was young, but he still kicked ass as an old man too. Honestly, during the Crystal Skull, he might still be at the top of the verse, doing significantly better than Mutt against the crazy cemetery warriors, defeating Antonine twice, and somehow survived the nuclear blast while in a fridge. And the Dial of Destiny, he would definitely at least be a tier down, below Hauke, at least in close quarters, but he would still be above Kleber as he was beating him around in most of their encounters. That's the end of the list, and probably the franchise due to Harrison Ford's age and how poorly this movie's doing at the box office. As Indy's son in an alternate reality would say,
let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
But please, don't let this channel die. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it. If you aren't subscribed, hit that button. But be careful of traps. If you don't do it, I might get desperate and have to use Archimedes' dial, and trust me, you don't want that.